everyone, welcome to the next video in this page of cute little snails from Magical Worlds by Johanna Basford. We are at the end of our first row, so let's come and have a little look at this one. I'm going to try and avoid doing brown after our bit of a mistake yesterday, I feel, but let's come and have a look. So our little snail has some pretty blue daisies. I'm using Castle Arts Gold just as a reminder. I think I'm going to we've done a blue snail and a brown snail. I was going to do a blue one, but we've done a blue one. So what should we do? Let me have a little look. I'm quite keen on doing my daisies, and let's go, I know. I'm going to go, yeah, that's what, I'm going to see if I can find those colours, yeah. Right, I'm going to do a bit of a turquoisey blue. The other snail we did was more of a purpley grey blue, so this will look quite different. So I'm going to start actually with a phthalo turquoise. So it's almost a greeny colour. I'm just going to do the body of the snail first, which is different to what I've done for the others, but that's okay. Start here at the bottom, and I'm going to sort of go up here a bit and fade, so like sort of like that. I think I just feel like I should do something with those lines, so that's what I'm doing, like that. Let's go to the tip there. I don't know how easily you can see the book wants to bend. There we go. And then on this side I need to make sure I keep it the same way. I just go all the way along here. And then what we've done is we've gone across that side a bit, like that, and a bit up here and here. I'm not sure how it's going to look when I'm done. Now a little bit under the chin as well, like this, and on the edge. And then just around. I'm going a bit fainter here. Around the edge. We'll bring in our next colour, and we'll then just put a bit above there. We'll just see how it all works together. So, oops, I'm using the jade green light with this. Yes, if I've looked correctly, yeah. So I'm just going to go over all of it, and then I'm just going to assess whether it works or not, really, whether it needs a bit more. I quite like the idea of having quite an intense colour. Yeah, I'm okay with that. So I hope everyone's doing well today. It's rather cold today. It was -4 when we got up this morning, so it's a really heavy frost. Everywhere was beautifully white. And then I suddenly remembered that I needed to go out. And my husband was all prepared. He had his day planned. I went, you know, we've got no food in the fridge, and we are potentially going out tomorrow, which may not happen. So I said, we're going to have to do the big food shop today. He's like, oh, but I haven't prepared for it. I'm not. I said, I know, but I've got no food and you've got no milk, and I can't carry everything today. And actually, I'm not feeling very energetic. I think I'm fighting off the coldy flu thing the boys have had, so feeling a bit ugh. So I didn't really have any energy. So I just said this, and I thought, oh, he'll probably just say, oh, we'll go a bit later. Suddenly he's like, right, we're going now. I was like, what? I'm not ready to go yet. But anyway, so I had to be ready. I'm just grabbing the Terre Verde Deep just to do a little bit of stronger colour in some areas, because it's a little bit pale in some of the areas. So I just want a bit more shadow. So I've just sharpened it. I'll put a bit on the bottom. I don't want it too dark, but so I'm not applying too much. Oh, sorry. Let me put my arm around the other way, like that. Yeah. So we went in the car anyway, so it was fine. And of course, it's a Friday today. Well, I say of course. You've got no idea. And supermarket is at its busiest. It's quite an unusual colour, isn't it, for a snail? But I'm rather pleased. I'm going to use the jade green light though to do the insides of these. I never know whether that should be coloured or not, but why not? Now I've got a challenge. What colour goes with that? What colour can I do those flowers? I'm going to have a little look. I'm thinking the ultramarine, I think. Now ultramarine is a colour that I'm not normally a big fan of, but we'll see. I think it's going to work. So here it is. There we go. So yes, it was pretty busy in the supermarket. I mean, now the Christmas season is over, it isn't quite so frantic. And interestingly, they had hardly any potatoes. I don't tend to buy potatoes very much. Now the centres I've coloured over. I'm going to do those in a black. Just because I accidentally coloured them over, so the only way they're going to show up, unless I use a pen on them, is if I use black. I'm going to try the black. If it doesn't work, I can always put some white over the top. So I'm going to just fill those in. Yeah. Now I'm going to use this same colour for these flowers. I think it'll tie it together. I've got to find it again. I just put it down, ultramarine. Just going to move my pencils out from under my elbow. So with these daisies, is what I think now, I'm going to make them darker nearer the centre part and then lighter towards the tip. So quite straightforward. Just layering up more here and then less here. You could shape the petals so it looks like it's, you know, make it dark on each edge so it looks like it's sort of tilted upwards and things. But it's such a small flower, I think it's easier and actually more effective to just keep it quite simple like this. Oh, anyway, so yeah, it was reasonably busy. And as I say, there were no potato, well, a few potatoes, but loads of all the Maris Pipers and King Edwards had sold out, which was interesting, and they just had their sort of generic white potatoes, but I don't buy potatoes very often, so I got some nice sweet potatoes. I much prefer those, much more flavour and healthier, more nutritious, and lower in accessible sugars, so I gather. That's all good. Oh, talk about sugar, so funny. Last night, you know, in January, there was a TV show about how to, it was all about sort of diets, cutting down and things like that for January. It was basically saying diets don't work, all sorts of stuff. Anyway, and then what was funny was after it, I may have told this story actually before, I can't remember if I made a video after it. I don't think I did. No, I didn't. After it, there was a programme on sweets. This is cobalt turquoise. All about all the sweets we used to buy from the corner shop back in the I think it said 60s, but I remember some of them. 60s, 70s, I guess. And all about buying sweets. It was quite interesting because they were saying, oh, you used to go and buy, go and get select. I'm just sort of intensifying the tips without making them look too dark. It would say we would go to the sorry, I've got to blow my nose, to the sweet shop, and we would choose from behind the counter. There would be these jars and you could choose, and they would weigh them out and put them in a little paper bag. And they were talking about this as if it was something, and it's fascinating because we have a sweet shop in our town that still does that, and it's not an old-fashioned one, it's a modern one. I'm going to do the flower centres in a yellow. I'm just choosing. I feel that a lemon yellow is going to go much better than something warm and orangey. So I'm going to use a lemon. Yeah, so our sweet shop does that. But what was funny was they said, oh, they sort of were interviewing celebrities as part of the programme. It's a sort of formula that they use on Channel 5 for a lot of programmes. And the celebrities were going, oh yes, I remember, excuse me, going to buy, we would buy, I'm trying to look for my juniper green, here it is. I would only get 2 ounces of sweets rather than a quarter. because then I could get a bigger selection of different types. And it made me smile to myself, because I was like, we used to get 2 ounces of sweets because we couldn't afford a quarter, and you get about 4 pineapple chunks or 4 cola cubes for in 2 ounces, and it would be like one of us, like on the way home from school, we'd sort of, I'm just blocking these in by the way, we would sort of search through our pockets and have a bit of money, and we'd go and buy something, and then we would share them, so whoever had the money would have the spare. So you might get 5 or 6 if you were lucky, and so you'd give one away and then you'd have the rest yourself, sort of thing. It was always when it was really hot, I always wanted to go to that sweet shop, and I'm going to do a few this time. I'm not going to do them all the same. I'm trying to fade it towards the tip, but it didn't work. So what I'm going to do instead is use a darker colour at the top. What should we use? The Veridian probably work. Oh, it's just knocked my pencil sharpener over. It just frightened me. Yeah, so it was always a drink that I wanted from the shop. Also, when you're in 6th form, you could go to the shop at lunchtime, but younger children couldn't. I think it was actually once you reached 18, you could do it, because then you're sort of an adult, so you didn't need parental well, you did need parental permission when I used to do it. Anyway, but they couldn't really restrict your movements quite so much. It gave you a feeling of freedom of being grown up. But the 6th formers used to go to the shop and buy things for the younger kids, take their money and buy them things and bring them back, you know. I'm going to use the chrome green for the other leaves, if I can find it. Here it is. Chrome. But my class that I was in when I was in 1st year class was so demanding that on the 6th form common room for our house, you would go to your house 6th form common room. I sound like I lived in Mallory Towers, if some of you might get the Enid Blyton reference. I didn't by any stretch. I'm going to use this chrome green for the leaves down here as well. They like the leaves of these flowers, aren't they? There was a note on the door going, no Avon 1, which was our class name. Avon was our house, 1 was our year. We will not go to the shop for you. Because so many people were so demanding. I think I'm not going to do all the leaves the same colour. I like the fact they're a bit different up there. I know they're all leaves of the same plant, but you know, they wouldn't always necessarily be all the same colour, and these are fairly similar. So yeah, so we didn't always get people to go for us. We used to go on our way home. We went right past the shop on our way home from school. Because we left via the back entrance to the school, where some people would leave via the front entrance. The buses would always be at the front. So it was always quite handy leaving from the back, because you didn't get in the way of all the hordes. Here's the Veridian, which I'm going to use for the hordes of kids waiting for the buses, which was always madness as far as I could tell. I didn't experience it then. I'm just going to sharpen this until we changed schools. So that was only my first 2 years. We were in an all-girls school, and then in 3rd year we mixed with a all-boys school, and we moved to their site because it was bigger. And also they had another school near them. The school near them moved to our site, so there was an empty building, so we could use that for a while until they got the numbers down. Basically they halved the intake of the school. When it was like big, the intake, it was really easy to get in. Obviously once they halved it, it was much harder. I'm thinking really hard about what to do about this background. I don't want to do a blue sky, although that's the really obvious thing to do because we've got so much blue. So I'm wondering whether to do something a little bit different. Sorry, I'm yawning. I'm looking at what might match. I'm thinking the azalea pink might work. Let's try it. Why not? Let's go for it. Let's go for pink. Where is it? Here it is. Azalea pink. I'm going to start by just putting a pink layer all over, and then I'll put a little bit of shadows or something around it maybe. We'll see what happens. I want to put enough on so I can see it to start with, and that's just where my goal is really. Oh, sorry about my voice. As I said, I think I'm catching the kids' cold, but it's okay. I came through to do this to distract me from the fact that I was feeling sorry for myself. I feel like I've got no energy, like physical energy. It's very weird. Anyway, but the reminiscing is helping. Yeah, so when we mixed with the boys' school, there wasn't a shop so close, and I had to get the bus, so I couldn't go to the shop after school. But once I got to sixth form, there was a shop, sort of, you had to cross the road and go down there. It was quite a long way, actually. Took a lot longer to get to. Sort of 5 minutes instead of 1, you know. But we were allowed to go across to there. And on a Tuesday, I think, group of us will go over and buy a cake from the bakery. But we wouldn't usually buy sweets and things very often. We didn't always have much money. None of us, well, a few of us were richer than others, but none of us had money to spend. You know, not like that. Yeah, one of my friends worked on a Saturday. She worked in a shop. This is grenadine. I'm going to use it to darken the edges. And so she had a bit of money, which she didn't like spending it on. She had to buy, because she was earning, she had to buy her toiletries and things like that. So she had to be careful with her money. I also had a friend who was given all of her family allowance. Now, family allowance, for those of you who aren't British, may not realise that it's a government payout to all mothers that is changed slightly now. But back then, every week you got a certain amount of money, and then if you had more than one child, you got extra. I think it was like if you had one child, you had X amount, and if you had 2, you had X and a half amount. Do you see what I mean? Or 3, you had double, that sort of thing. And so there would be this money. So my mum would always put it into the housekeeping to pay towards our food. I'm really sorry, I don't know what's going on here. And things like that. But my friend used to get given it. It was just put in a bank account. And then she said, oh, well, but I've got to buy all my own clothes with it. But she would just go and buy the most amazing, expensive, trendy clothes. And I was like, wow. And so I remember saying to my mum, can I have mine? She was like, no. So I need that money to pay the food bill. Okay. But these days it's changed slightly. If you're well off, well, it's means tested effectively. So if you're, that's surprisingly okay. I was a bit worried. I think it's all right. I'm just going to use the cherry pink just to make the edges even a bit more dark. You might not want to bother with this bit. Yes, so nowadays, yes, if you're well off, you don't get it. And I think if you have more than 2 children, you don't get any extra, something like that. It's a tricky one because I think, well, there are some people who don't have children because they can't afford to. Is it fair that they're paying for other people's children? But on the other hand, is it fair on a child if they're brought up in poverty? You know, there's two completely different ways of looking at it, and I can't decide which side I'm on, to be honest. I think the means tested side is right. You know, I think if people are well off, they shouldn't have the money. You know, the idea of benefits is to help people who need it, not just to help everyone. So I think I'm happy with that. As long as the cut-off point is fair, which I think it probably I think there was a bit of a problem with it because it's based on only one income. So if one earner goes above a certain income, then you don't get it. Whereas in some families, both earners are just under it and they get it. Whereas in other families, you know, it wasn't quite fair. But anyway, I am a sort of believer in that we should, if we can afford to pay, we should help people out. Because, and I know some people begrudge it and say it's not fair, some people get help all their life, and it's like, yeah, but would you want their life? No. You know, I'm very grateful that I haven't had to ask for help, that I've been able to manage on my own, you know, all with husband's help and parents' help, but not having to ask the government. So I just feel fortunate, really. Is it me, or does this look like it's a little bra? Sometimes I wonder with Johanna. She's got a good sense of humour. Anyway, we're going to make that do. I'm quite happy with that little snail. And yes, the background, I was like, if I don't do it as sky, it's going to look weird. But no, I'm happy. Oh, we've got something really different next time. Oh, such a cute snail next time. So cute. Anyway, let's finish up today. We'll have a look at that one tomorrow. But thank you so much for watching. I hope that you have a really, really super day and happy colouring.